everybody. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We have one more commissioner that will be probably joining us late, but at least we have a quorum at the moment. We appreciate everybody being here today for this meeting, the November 15th meeting of the HPC. If you have a copy of the agenda, if you refer to the back, if you need to, it states the mission of the HPC, just for your reference. The first item that we have to tackle is the consent agenda from October's meeting. If we hear a motion to accept those, or if there are any amendments that need to be made.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll show that the consent agenda has been approved. Therefore, we can move immediately into new business. So as we proceed down this list of action items, we will call an address forward. If you are a representative or the owner or both for the property, please come up to the podium, state your name and your residential address for the record, and then proceed to tell us about the COA, and we'll have some discussion. So thank you all very much for being here. First up, we have 505 Washington Street.
Do I have to talk with this on, or can I?
You may take it off if you like, yes.
Okay, it steams up my glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, typical problem. Anyway, my name is, I'm here to speak about the COA for 505 Washington Street. My name is Dennis Newton. I am the property owner, so I live at 505 Washington Street. A COA was previously approved to install a canopy of approximately 4 feet by 4 feet over our basement entrance door to 505 Washington Street. The previous COA called for a metal roof covering. That COA was approved. So I am petitioning to change the roof covering from metal to artificial slate. The canopy has been built, but the roof covering has not been installed yet. The artificial slate I propose using is very similar in appearance to the slate on my house, and it is the same artificial slate that I installed on my garden shed, and the garden shed construction was approved by COA HP C0811-0021. Now, I've had difficulty getting someone to install a standing seam roofing on such a small piece of roof. And I like the slate, and I can install the artificial slate myself. Now, metal roofing was initially selected because of the shallow slope of the canopy roof. However, the maker of the artificial slate roofing states that the artificial slate can actually be used on the 5 to 12 slope that I'm using for the canopy. In fact, they said I can go down to 3 to 12 slope. I have sent photos of recently, last week. I don't know if you got them or not. It shows the slate on my house, and it shows the artificial slate on the garden shed, and it shows the 4x4 constructed canopy, and the constructed canopy is seen from the sidewalk. Now, I have brought a sample of the artificial slate, and this is it here. It is made by EcoStar, and let me see, this is it with a 6-inch reveal, and that's it with a 7-inch reveal. And I think it looks pretty realistic myself, I think. So anyway, I think, do you have any questions?
Do you plan on using 6-inch reveal on that such a small area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such a shallow slope.
Sure. Anyone like to make a motion?
I move approval of the COA.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding it? Hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Looks like you are good to go.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. It's looking great. Next up, we have 1419 Grace Street. Hello there.
Afternoon. I'm Dolores Fowler, if you don't mind,
Yes, ma'am.
representing Diamond Hill Baptist Church. I'm chairperson of the trustee committee.
Excellent.
Eve,
Right there.
has all the information that is needed to present to you at this time, and I'm here to answer any questions that I can.
Okay. Everyone have an opportunity to review the COA as it was submitted?
I know, that's why I printed it. It's so hard
So-
for me to see.
From what I understand, you want to replace the wood that is present with hardy plank.
I can't understand you.
Sorry. From what I understand, you want to take the wood that is present on the parsonage now and replace that with hardy plank? Is that correct?
Well, we were trying to replace what we took off on the back dormer of the building, and it was a piece of harbor board, and so we sought to replace the harbor board. And so I've been working with Eve, trying to find out, because one time they said, yes, we could go ahead and do it, and then the next time they said, no, we couldn't do it. And so we've been bouncing back and forth, yes and no, yes and no. And it's just the back end of the of this building.
In the front dormers too, right?
And,
The front dormers too?
yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to see.
It's just a small section on the back.
So, I believe what happened in this instance is they removed hardy plank, but I could find no proof that it was approved prior. So it's unclear when that transition may have happened. And according to the DHR files that we have, it was originally wood. So that's kind of why it's coming before you today, because we don't have any proof that it was ever approved to be hardy plank.
We had purchased the harbor board, and we tried to, after we talked to Eve about it, we tried to return it, and they wouldn't let us. They said we had had it too long. By the time we got to her and to do everything that we had to do, the time had expired, and they would not take it back. But I noticed that in the John Lynch house on Rivermont Avenue, you're using harbor board.
And that's what was taken out. We don't know when a change was made, but there was hardy plank on.
Right. I've been at Diamond Hill for over 50 years,
Yeah.
and I don't ever recall any work being done on that building.
Interesting.
So it had to been done for us to get it off of there. Somebody
Right.
did, but we don't have any idea. So I just need permission to please go ahead and let us use the harbor board, since we cannot turn it in, and it's just for the back end, and the little dormers right there on the front, on the top.
On that, the rear elevation, it's the dark spot, or the dark area that's around the windows, so on the second floor, is that, yes, that will be repainted? You want to
It'll be
repaint that
white.
part
It'll
white?
be white.
White, okay, yeah.
This picture is after it was already removed.
Oh, okay,
It
that's
was-
why
it
it's so
was white
dark.
before,
Okay,
yeah.
that
It was
makes
white
sense.
before, yeah.
Yeah, it is hard to see that, okay. That must be the sheathing behind it, I guess. Okay.
Well, for the sake of discussion, I'll move that the petition be approved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, is there any discussion, questions, or comments?
I think I just need help understanding. Are you saying harbor?
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right or not, but it's
The application says hardy board.
Hardy, okay, well,
Okay, so it's not going to be, in one of the pictures, I see two 4x8 sheets of OSB. That's not what is going to be on the exterior.
if we can get the hardy board, is that hardy, am I saying it right now? If we can get the hardy board, because we had already purchased some, because that was the pieces that we took off.
Okay.
And and now to get wood, period, it's Lowe's is saying 6 to 8, 10 months, so it's going to be a long time. And since we already have the board and we can't turn it in, they won't accept it back.
Sure.
So I'm asking for permission to use the hardy board just on the back end, because that's a driveway and you can't see it anyway.
Well, the hardy board's the other, it's the
Right down
planks,
here. You're
right?
talking about these sheets? over
Correct,
here?
because that looks like what may be up here now. That's why I was asking for clarification.
Yeah. I think if anything, it may be used for backer to fill in over the studs.
You want to use these pieces that
The
are
long
down?
pieces,
I
right?
can't hear you and I can't see
Sorry,
you.
is this what you're asking to use?
I think that might be what has been.
Is that what you want to use
Yeah.
here? Not like this other?
No,
Yeah.
is that what you're looking at? Right there, that's the hardy board.
Is this what you want to use?
That's what we have.
That's what you bought to put back on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, the long boards, okay. That answer your
Yeah, I'm good, if that's the case. Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, you are good to go. All set.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'll send you the COA.
Okay.
Okay, next up, we have 1018 Rivermont Avenue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I am pastor / trustee Mac H. Johnson of 1018 Rivermont Avenue, Emanuel Christian Church. I have presented to your committee a picture that we would like, a new sign, church sign we'd like to put on the front of the church. Well, I turned in one. It was too large. Well, Mr. Henry told me that did not meet the code. And so I asked him what the code was, and he gave me 99 by 40. And so I just wanted to know if you all will approve this sign to go on the front of the church. A lot of people think it's the funeral home. And so we have a small sign there, a small sign, but I don't know, a lot of times people think it's a funeral home. So I just want approval to put a new sign up, a little larger sign than what we have. And find out from the committee exactly what kind of material you want me to use or whatever.
Can I ask just a question for clarification?
Yes, sir.
I see in the material submitted two different measurements.
Mm-hmm.
One is 66 by 40, and then you mentioned a 90 by 40, I think it was.
All right.
Can you tell me which size you're seeking approval for?
We're seeking approval for the 66 by 40.
Okay.
The written part says 94 by 57.
Yeah,
I
that's
think-
right.
Well, that was one that,
The original application was too large.
It was too
for the
large.
Zoning ordinance,
Right.
and so the size has been reduced that is being proposed.
Yeah, Kevin Henry reduced it to the size that's on the submittal by McBride signs.
And how will this be mounted?
how will it be mounted?
Yeah.
It already have where it was drilled and have steel pegs in, where we have this sign up. As matter of fact, this sign is taking place of what the Scottish Rite Temple had a sign right there, and they had put metal pegs in and screws, and so that's where we will mount this.
What is is there a sign in that same spot currently? Like, is that?
See that little square at the bottom?
That's on the bottom.
See the little square at the bottom?
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
Right
you.
here?
That's what's there currently.
That's the sign that we have.
Yeah, they superimposed the vertical one over
Perfect.
top of it.
Okay.
But that's the
Size.
horizontal mounted is the one that's there now.
Okay.
And it's Yeah, you kind of have to squint
Squint, yeah.
in good light to see it. As it is now, this would be more visible.
And I apologize, could you restate what you were saying about the mounting? I'm sorry.
The mountain, like I stated, that Scottish Rite Temple, when they were there, they had a metal sign, and they had metal pegs into the concrete, and that's where the sign was fastened to. The metal pegs are already there.
There used to be a sign here before this one.
Gotcha.
And it's going back into the same four
Got it.
corners.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'd move to approve.
Mr. Chairman?
All right, any other questions or comments regarding it? Sign, placement materials, everything's good? Great, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. None opposed? It's like we're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. We
Do I
appreciate
need
coming
a
in.
statement from this commission, or just go ahead and put the sign up?
You are free to move forward.
I'll send you a COA tomorrow in
Yeah.
the morning.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have a great day here.
Thank you. Next up is 209 E Street.
Karen Ellis, 209 East Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I need to put up a rail with balusters for my homeowner's insurance purposes. The picture that you have is of a metal, it's metal. And I like that because less maintenance. My second option would be to do something similar in wood. So I don't know, right now it's a iron pipe looking rail.
And so is the insurance company saying that can stay if you put something on the other side that has balusters? Or has to replace?
Well, it's unclear, and I hate to ask them too many questions. It sounded like I just needed to put balusters on what was existing,
Which, yeah, that's
but
tough.
that's pretty impossible. So I would like to do both sides, but since it seems like they only had issue with what was existing, I'll probably put one up for now and get them off my back, and then probably do a second one.
Okay.
And probably the second one will happen when I do the first one, but just in case.
And the rail and baluster kit photo that was presented to us, is that
Yes.
something you already purchased or
I have
you're
not
considering?
purchased it. That's
Just
what
looking
I'm
at it.
considering.
Sure. Anyone like to make a motion or have some discussion?
I'll move to approve, and then we can move into any discussion.
Does anyone like to second that? We can discuss.
I have a question. So were you saying that you were considering replacing the whole thing with metal, or the wood is what you want to use?
I would like to do the metal, just because it's less upkeep over time.
So not this kit then that's pictured?
It will be that kit,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, it is metal, yeah, okay. It looks like it is maybe metal on the whole thing, okay.
Top and bottom rail.
So with the front porch being wood, I'm not sure what the guideline is specifically with mixing the materials on that. Does anyone have any clarification on that?
I think the guidelines state that if the porch is wood, that this should also be wood.
Okay.
And this is really a metal pipe that's
Right,
there
that's
now,
existing.
not really a handrail.
Correct.
So,
Let's see, what is that picture there that we're looking at? That one is another example. That's all wood though, correct?
Yeah, that would be what I would I would do something similar, not fancy balusters, but, yeah.
I would agree, it seems to be much more appropriate to be in wood to match the porch. If we were seeing the earlier picture with the pipe railing, the porch is clearly not original to the house. It's square elements and the top is square, doesn't have a rounded handrail or a bottom rail that would typically be seen on a historic home. But in that it's existing, I think you'd be better served to go towards a wood element that at least matches what's there.
Okay.
The wood one is, the metal one is, it's gonna look like it's a foreign object.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I was just hoping.
Yeah. You're gonna have a hard time anchoring that one to the concrete steps anyway. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it would go in the ground, I think.
Yeah. So I guess we didn't get a second.
No, we did not. Can you pull up the COA? I want to see how it was, the written request for it, though.
Chris? There it
it's
is.
perfect. Okay, perfect.
You are really important. It's easier.
So if the initial motion dies for lack of a second,
Yeah.
I would make a motion that we approve a handrail on one side, second side, if the owner so desires, that would be out of wood and in a design that is matching the existing porch materials already there.
Yeah, that'd be fine because it does state looking into wood or metal, and so we're cutting out the metal and leaving just the wood option. Okay, that's good. So we have a motion and a second. Anyone have any other questions, comments, or concerns?
And we're talking about removing the pipe and putting the new one there, correct? Not leaving the pipe and putting it on the other side?
Right.
Just clarify. Okay. And then same color, or is that, I mean, I know we're just talking about design here, but you're going to do the same color as the porch? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I'm not fond of the gray, so I would like to paint it something else and probably would do the porch at the same time.
Okay, so that would probably be a separate COA then, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would guess.
I think if it stays in white, it would be
Okay.
appropriate.
Okay.
If you start
White.
going into
Okay. I can paint
range
it
of
white. I
colors,
can
you
live
probably
with
need to
that.
come back to Eve.
Yeah, you'll still need to apply for a COA.
On the paint.
But depending on the color, it might be administratively approved.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And
Just came from-
So what we're
Thank you.
voting on is removal of the rail and replacement with a wooden rail with baluster.
Correct.
In
Painted
white.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Yes. All right, so everybody's clear
so
on
will I
that?
need a COA for the white?
You will need a COA to paint the rest of the porch white,
porch.
but not the
Oh,
rail and the
okay.
balusters.
Okay.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, we show that you're good to go on that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Next up is 1370 Rivermont Avenue. Hello there.
Hi, I'm Sam Harkowski. My LLC owns 1370 Rivermont Avenue. We are currently changing it from it was zoned as a duplex, and we're switching it to renovating into a single-family home. It's currently a brick exterior, and there was a number of renovations made, I believe, in 2000-ish era, including a large deck on the side that we'd like to take down. It's pressure-treated wood. It's pretty rickety, and the There's also 2 doors leading out to that. So we'd like to remove the doors, infill with brick up and replace it with windows. It would probably be more close to the original design there. On the back, there's an enclosed porch, which is currently just a wall of windows covered in lattice. And we'd like to, it's more or less, suitable for 2 seasons. We'd like to enclose that as a portion of the house, put a laundry room back there. So we'd like to remove that wall of windows and infill it with hardy plank and appropriately sized windows. Another thing we're asking to do is the whole house currently has vinyl windows installed. Probably another 2010-ish renovation, but the windows are in pretty good shape. So we'd like to replace, and there's like 1 or 2 broken windows. So we'd like to replace them in kind, meaning also vinyl, which we know is outside of the typical scope of the historic guidelines. But I think without none of the windows in the front of the house would be being replaced. So we would like to replace some of the broken vinyl windows with vinyl windows again.
I think those are on the back, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one kind of above on the second story there, above that low roof. And then where we would be infilling windows where the former doors would be, we'd also like to put vinyl there to match.
And the dormer windows are non-existent, correct?
Right, they're just kind of boarded
one's open,
up.
I think one's just a
Exactly.
sheet of plywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we'd also like to do vinyl there. I have actually pretty extensively searched for, Eve sent me the pictures of the original ones. We've been looking try to find a wood matching one. It's just, I've gotten quotes to replace in kind on that, and they're, thousands of dollars a window, and there's 6 of them. So it would very much hinder what we could do with the rest of the project if we had to use wood there. So yeah, we'd like to replace everything that's there with vinyl double hung windows, and we can match the original grid pattern, the center style.
Where the second story deck attaches to that, so there's 2 doors that come out from the bedrooms that are up there
Correct.
onto that, and you want to brick up to the bottom of where a window
Yep.
sill would be. Obviously, the patio was added on later. Were the openings done at the same time?
I'm
Were
pretty
they
sure
maybe
there was.
windows and they cut it down to
Hey,
big
that's
doors?
that's our best guess. Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at, you'd be able to tell with the probably mortar would
The
be
doors
different.
are not original.
Not
because
original,
They were
okay.
added with the porch.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was somebody tried to make it into a duplex at one point in time, and that was their access to the second floor.
Yeah, I figured that was as much. I just didn't know if maybe there was some other structure there at some point
Right,
before.
and we'd
but
kind
I
of
figured
considered
probably
maybe doing like a Juliet balcony or something like that, but it just didn't seem appropriate.
Sure,
You know?
sure. That makes sense.
The vinyl windows on the back being replaced with vinyl, I don't think we could not approve that in terms of being not visible. I would note to you, if you're having to replace vinyl windows that are only 15 years old because of what they are.
Right.
So if you replace them with the same, just know that you're going to probably be looking at replacing them again in some similar period of time, as opposed to spending a little more for more appropriate windows, and they last much, much longer. So that's obviously your choice, yeah, in terms of that. The ones on the dormers on the front would seem to need to be wood to match if Eve has come up with original pictures, as opposed to vinyl. Vinyl on the front, I think, would be a violation of the guidelines.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's correct. I don't know, I know that your materials cost is being watched very closely on this. I'm sure there has to be some method of replicating these here, or at least close to them. But we have 2 different designs here where one on one side and one on the other, or we have no idea?
I believe the one on the left is the side dormer windows, and then the one on the right was in the front.
Front, okay.
I believe the side dormer was a later design, whereas the one on the right was the original.
Okay.
Are these pictures of something existing somewhere?
They were taken out in 2002 to be replaced in kind, and then I don't know what happened, but they never ended up putting any windows back in, so they've just been empty since 2002.
The previous owner had some issues, so let's put it that way.
These aren't hanging out in a shed behind the house, are they?
But, and so there's also a lot, I mean, there's just a lot of things about the house that aren't necessarily historically accurate. That even the brick facade was a 30s edition. It was originally wood. Obviously, the windows were replaced in about the early 2000s, and then as well as the deck. There's a lot of other things in the house that kind of seem. There's also a shingle roof, which we've already been given permission to replace, but in the same one. But yeah, I guess it doesn't necessarily fit all the things that would make it historically special anymore. We are going to repair the front porch in the exact manner that it's been built, but other than that.
I think even if those front upper windows were replaced with wood in a simpler design, as opposed to the more elaborate and therefore more expensive diamond pattern,
Just like a single style.
yeah, would be more appropriate than, it would certainly, I could swallow that much more easily than vinyl.
Sure.
By far, if that's possible. I mean, even just how big are those? About?
They're 24 by 36, and there's 6 of them. So there's 2 per dormer.
Yeah, even just a plain one pane.
Just a square frame.
Yeah, I mean,
With a wood frame.
For wood, with
suit guidelines anyway.
yeah,
Gotcha.
with wood, made out of wood, as opposed to anything vinyl,
Okay.
would make a lot of sense. So, I'd make a motion to approve the vinyl on the rear to your decision making.
Sure.
And the front dormers to be wood, as if not matching the original, as simple and plain as possible.
Okay. And sorry.
I was going to ask about how we felt about the ones on the side that are currently doors.
that's right.
Because there's vinyl on the first floor windows on the side of the house,
Yeah,
right?
they're directly above it.
So it would be directly above, it would be symmetrical, but how do you feel about that?
It's touchy. If they're already vinyl there, they're matching, the guidelines does yield to matching, so the 2 on the side, it's nicer to get rid of that deck and go back to the original. It's a little bit of accepting the lesser of 2 evils.
Right.
So yes, I would agree that the side windows could be replaced in kind with vinyl.
Gotcha. On the back, we had requested to kind of infill that porch area with hardy plank.
Yeah, and the infill goes along with the work on the back.
Great.
Yes. There was a bit of a rambling motion. Do you want it?
Number 5 on the COA is regarding painting the brick.
Yeah, we had, it was kind of, we didn't know if it was even going to be acceptable. We had thrown it out there. It's obviously a substantial cost to add that to the project when the brick is fine as is. It was mostly in regards to the patching we had to do of those, if it was going to look obvious, if the, obviously paint would kind of smooth over that, but again, a large additional cost to paint the exterior. So it's mostly curiosity.
Right.
If you want to amend my rambling motion, I would move to deny painting.
Okay.
It's generally an absolute no on painting existing brick.
Sure.
Great.
Eve, did you get my rambling enough to make it a good minutes?
So you're approving everything as, submitted except for the dormers
And
And the
and
paint.
and the paint.
and the paint, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. We have a motion, a second. Any other questions,
Sorry,
comments?
I have one more question.
Yes, please.
On the COA, point C under number 4, you are talking about replacing a door that will be Therma-Tru benchmark half-light prime steel. Where is that on the house?
On that back wall where the infill, there's actually no existing door there. It's just plywood and stuff. But
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions? No? All right, we'll call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, it looks like you're good to go.
Thank you.
Enjoy the project. Thank you. Yeah. All right, folks, next we have 1422 Pierce Street.
How are we doing this evening?
Hello there.
I'm Turner Lee with Jamerson Lewis Construction. I'm here with Libra and Marshall of the Whirlwind Johnson Foundation. My address is not the same as the address of the home because I'm representing. But yes, so we are looking to do a small shed renovation of the shed that's located in the back of the Dr. Johnson Pierce Street location. We're looking to replace the pocket sliding doors, as well as replace the 3 exterior windows, and as well as the exterior light. For the wooden doors, we are using Elk Creek woodworking, and we will be replacing them in kind, exactly how they were, as close as we can make them. With the windows, we are using architectural windows out of Henrico, and they had suggested using a wood frame around the entire exterior of the window. But for the grills and sash, they had proposed using PVC because that's what they had on hand. And it was like a $2,000 cost increase to use wood. So I was asking if it would be okay to use PVC for the grills and sash, but wood for the frame of the window.
Oh, you can keep going. We'll talk about that
Okay.
when we go through. Sure.
And then the last thing we were proposing was the exterior light. So this was the light that I had sourced and found. But since then, we have looked into maybe another solution to go with Jefferson lighting to replace it in kind. So that one almost doesn't even need to be on here. But mainly we're focused on the windows today because Jefferson lighting is going to be able to replace that in kind. And I can talk with Eve on that.
So we're not discussing all the siding and everything else?
Are we
roof?
still discussing the siding?
No, at this point, it's only the doors and the windows, and I guess no longer the light, but everything else has been administratively approved
Gotcha.
in kind.
So doors and windows, we're good then, okay. All right. Anyone like to open this up with a motion on those 2 items?
I'll move approval. I think it's exciting what's going on at Dr. Johnson's home.
Yeah, we were very
So,
excited.
Yeah.
We really are. And the only reason we want the windows to have any PVC in them is because, well, 1, it was the cost, and 2, the lead time. It would push the project out 2 or 3 more months. And we're going to paint it over, and it's going to look almost exactly like what Dr. Johnson had originally installed. So, and it's still going to have that wood framing that is what their eyes are going to be drawn to and what you will see from the outside. So,
Remind me, we had some PVC windows a couple months back.
We did.
And you did some research and found that generally historic districts were approving PVC?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true? Okay.
As long as they had the wood frame.
Okay. And will the muttons be the same size as the original?
I'm pretty sure that they're going to be the exact same size. They might be a 16th smaller or bigger.
I think the biggie is a lot of times you'll find historic replacement windows, the muttons become much, much larger just because of structural stability of the historic harder wood versus the modern materials. And I think the thinness would be very important to match the original in terms of size, no bigger
Okay,
than what's there.
okay.
Yeah. So
Great.
So for that, with that caveat of Muttons being no larger than the existing, I would second your motion.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns before we call for a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? Good to go.
Thank you, guys.
And
Thank you very
and
much.
props on the lighting, being
Yeah.
Jefferson working on that.
That's right.
a good step.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much. Okay, next up, we have 315 E Street. Is anyone here from 315 E Street? We do not. That was, I guess it's Tony. We can, I guess, we'll move that to
Yeah, we can
next
discuss
one.
it at the end.
Yeah. See if he comes back around, but if not, we'll push to the next. Next up, 2057 Garfield Avenue. Well, Mr. Hammond, welcome back.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, sir.
Can I demask?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Rex Hammond. I'm here today to represent Virginia University of Lynchburg. We've been working with the National Park Service and specifically in Virginia, the Department of Historic Resources to get Section 106 approval. Good news, we've received 106 approval on both the Kaitlyn Library and the Graham Hall projects. And as a matter of procedure, wanted to appear before you today to get COA approval for both of these projects. Would you like me to summarize what we're doing? Okay, sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Let me take them in order by the agenda. Kaitlyn Library is approximately 70 years old. Both of these projects are on the historic register. You probably may be aware that they're both in a historic district. Our three primary buildings are between 70 and 100 years old, well, 100 plus years old actually. So protecting these historic buildings is very important to the integrity and the historicity of our university. Kaitlyn Library had some engineering many decades ago, which I don't want to get into cause and effect, but within the last couple of years, we've had incredible flooding problems with the building, and what used to be a student union is no longer a student union, and we'd like to return it to functionality again by fixing the foundation and waterproofing around the boundary of the building. That's the immediate fix that we want to make. We also want to improve the sidewalks so that there's more ADA accessibility. We're looking at a side door that would lead into the downstairs that we'd like to make ADA accessible. There are other things within the master plan, but those are the immediate items on that project. You'll take these as separate projects. Okay, so let me stay on that one. The other major cost component would be an update of our HVAC. It's antiquated technology. We're going to have to do some new ducting, returns equipment. And this may not be responsive to what you need, but if we run out of grant money, it's understood that we can reapply for additional funding.
Okay.
So we want to do everything right from the inception, and this seems like a good way to embrace the totality of what we're proposing.
Great. Who would like to make a motion?
I'm going to recuse myself. My firm is doing the design work on this, so
Understood. We
I can
appreciate
answer
that.
questions for you. But
Sure.
Doing a fine job, I might add.
Understood. As he always does.
In full disclosure, I also taught at the UL a few years ago, and I can tell you that this building desperately needs foundational improvement, like work, and the flooding issues are very severe.
Goodness, okay.
And I know there was some, I'm going to,
Please.
if I may, the foundation work is outside of my work, so I guess I can speak to it a little bit. The firm that's doing that has worked at Monticello, doing foundation, similar waterproofing situations, so they know historic buildings, and I'm feeling very comfortable with how they're doing that.
Right.
They were actually vetted separately by the National Park Service as a vendor.
And their work, in essence, will disappear once they're finished. Really, the only exterior work that'll still be seen will be this ADA door that it's taking an existing sidewalk and sloping it down and turning the corner to get in. And that ADA to the first floor was a requirement by the National Park Service to do. So kind of a given.
Sure. Great.
I move to approve.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, comments regarding this work specifically for this COA? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hearing no opposed, that is good to go. So you can immediately roll on to the next aspect of the
Okay,
project.
very good. The same issues apply with Graham Hall, actually the oldest building on campus that used to be the lunchroom there, and it's now a classroom. However, because of comfort issues, particularly HVAC, it has not been operational for a couple of years now, and we would like to use it for classrooms once again by doing some brickwork, particularly on the side facing Kaitlyn. We need to put mortar back in again and stabilize particularly the right corner, left corner of the wall, which just visually you can tell it's having problems. There's a leaky roof in the back that currently covers the IT portion of the building. We will need to do foundation stabilization there. It's more anticipatory than repair wouldn't really be what we're doing there, but it would protect that asset going forward. And then inside, the building has its what I believe to be original wood floors, the nice pressed metal ceilings. We currently have a cube inside the room, so it doesn't affect any of the historic items, while that cube did not have any sound protection. We want to take that out. None of that is historic. That was an improvement made a couple decades ago. We'd like to put another cube in there, again protecting the historic assets of the interior of the building, and put new HVAC in there so that the classrooms can be maintained from zones. So if only one classroom's being used, we don't have to heat the whole building. So that's what we have envisioned for the Graham Hall project.
Next, front portico.
Portobello. Portobello?
Portico.
Portico, okay.
Pediment.
Yeah, the overhang on the front, on our front porch. We need to do some repairs to that. To what degree, I'm not sure what improvements are needed, but Actually, it's one of the nice looks of that building, and there is at a very minimum, the base of the columns on the front of the building are rotting, and so maybe there's some wood repair and painting involved. There may be some gravity affecting a sag.
Yeah.
We might have to prop that up.
So more just rehabilitation, in-kind materials, that sort of thing. No major changes to the look
None
whatsoever. Okay.
Repointing the entire exterior. You know, having to do a mortar match, everything. In the front columns, think about, there's 4 of them. I think about 2/3 of them are still good. Basically, they rotted from the bottom up. So
Yeah.
the drawings call for them to be replaced in kind.
Okay.
Same size material, new bases. The little plinth that they will sit on will be aluminum, so we'll keep water away from the bottom of the column.
Yep.
They'll last a little longer this time.
Great.
And then can you explain the toilet addition? Where is that going to be in terms of where the building is? I'm having trouble.
Yeah, there's an existing wart on the side of the building that was done 70s-ish.
If not earlier.
Yeah, not earlier. And I mean, the toilet stalls have curtains. And they're, you know, your shoulders touch both sides. They're just so far from ADA compliant. You know, they just aren't. So the intent is that pre-70s addition would come off and actually go back on almost the same size, and it would do away with that IT closet and a janitor's closet, so that there's some more sizable footprint that allows 2 fully handicap accessible male and female toilets to go in. So it's replicating a bad addition as opposed to trying to modernize something, you know, come up with a new design. It's in essence replacing in kind, if you will, a bad design. But the National Park Service kind of likes that approach, as opposed to trying to make something cute and historic to replace it. They don't want to go there. So we stayed in the same vocabulary, but it will be very clearly a non-original material.
Anyone would like to make a motion on this?
I so move approval.
Second.
Any other questions, clarifications, comments? Hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like we're good here as
Thank you very
well.
much.
Mr. Hammond, thank you very much.
You bet.
Good to see you. All right, looks like we can't, well, I don't see anyone else come in, so I guess, we need to vote on 315 East Street to postpone it to the next meeting.
I move that we postpone action on 315 East Street.
All those in favor? Okay. Show that 315 East Street has moved to the December meeting. We have one item that is listed as old business at 717 Cabell Street. Do we have a representative? Welcome, come on up. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Burnett Reveley III. I am the owner and tenant at 717 and 715 Cabell Street. And I am petitioning you guys for a 16-foot by 40-foot pre-built structure, which will be used as a storage shed, and it will be painted the same antique green and roofed the same as the dwelling that resides at 717 Cabell Street. And I was requesting to put a slab and to place the structure on top of the slab.
We'd be sitting on a slab, okay. All right, anyone like to make a motion?
I know there was some, at the last meeting, I don't remember us being asked to attend, so I missed it. But I know, looking at the video, there was some question about the size, and that it was just a dwelling that my daughter had was getting rid of, so I could acquire it at a good price. So I wanted to place that on, which I was in the market. I had talked to Mr. Henry about a shed, right before this happened, and then this 16 by 40 unit came by way of my daughter. So I said, hey, that's a perfect timing, and gave you guys a call, and she told me what to do to present it. So that's where we are today.
Great. And so, I'm sorry, you say that the roof is going to be matching the house and not something that would,
The same material. It won't necessarily be the same hip style roof that the house has. The house is 1930-ish, and but the way we plan on painting and roofing it, it would blend in, we're thinking.
I was wondering, do you know the dimensions of the house, like the width of the house? I was curious in proportion to the shed.
My house, I don't know the actual dimensions. It's just 17.
34 wide total.
Okay.
The patio in the back lends itself to a little bit wider, so it's pretty close to what the width of the entire shed is. The body of the house is not quite as wide as that.
To do them together, 34.
Sorry, thank you, okay.
Yeah, so you have 34, and then plus the hangover from the porch on the back left-hand side.
Yes, okay, okay.
And the building has vinyl siding and vinyl windows?
Yeah, I didn't review I sent the exact measurements and the exact structure from the manufacturer's website, but so I don't exactly. I'm pretty sure it's vinyl. I don't know off my head because I did not review that. Like I said, the house is about 1,700 square foot above grade. It's another 600 below grade. There is a shed on the property already that's kind of dilapidated. It was like that pretty much when I bought it. I did what I could do to bring it up to code because when I was purchasing it, it failed inspection, and in order to get it to buy the property, the owners couldn't. I don't know if they just couldn't afford to fix it or what the issue was, but I actually did the work to that shed to fix it, to get it to approve for me to purchase it. And but that shed is the problem with that shed is the flooring. But it was enough to pass when I bought it 5 years ago, the property. But I just kind of want to replace that. The shed, again, 715 is the property beside it, the lot beside it. So I can also put the shed on that property if I have to, because it's flat and it's completely unoccupied.
So do you know, is it visible from the street? Would it be?
It would be visible from 8th Street, but not necessarily, pretty much not at all from Cabell Street, because the lot drops off in the back, and it would be covered on 715. It drops off on 717. It would be blocked by the house, pretty much.
Eve, could you go back to the guideline wording that you had up?
Scale to the building.
That point of smaller in scale than the primary building?
Right.
I mean, the shed is half the size of the house and wider than the house. It is not in scale with the house itself and with the district itself in any way. It's just, I mean, I know it's nice to come free from somewhere, but it just doesn't fit.
Meaning It doesn't.
It's too
ginormous.
But just because according to the guidelines, it states that it needs to be in proportion to the house.
Smaller.
Smaller, right.
Much.
And this is, a little wider even than,
Okay. Well, the reason I just had noticed that there are several other homes in the area that have, huge detached dwellings. So just figured it would, blend in if you did the appropriate exterior that matched the house, and again being on the two lots, would be not too evasive.
You on 715 as well?
Yes, sir. And like I said, I know it would fit perfectly behind the house, but I can also move it further to 715. And I could tear it down if I needed to do that and resubmit something where I could demolish the existing and put it there, but it wasn't necessarily my ideal location for the.
Yeah.
So where are you, Eve? Can you point out on that image?
So this is 717, and this is 715.
If you were to put it down here at the bottom, on the side yard,
So the adjacent lot, the 715 lot, has no buildings?
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Is that thing your arrow is on now, Eve, is that a remnant?
that is a shed.
That's the existing shed.
The existing shed that wants to.
That wants to go away?
Yeah.
Ah,
I have things in there, so I don't want to demolish it without having something else, but, that 16 by 40 just happened to be available to me at a very good.
could your new shed go at the rear of that 715 lot?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Back towards the back?
Yes, sir.
Instead of directly behind the residence,
Yes,
as
sir.
in the architectural drawing that we saw?
Yes, it definitely could. It could go, perpendicular or parallel to the home in the back, or like I said, perpendicular to the next door neighbors, if you will. So.
And could you speak again, you gonna redo the roof, or just paint the roof, or?
No, I was gonna make sure the roof had the same material, same color as the existing roof, which is typical asphalt shingles. So,
okay.
So it would.
So it doesn't, the one picture we saw had a metal
Yeah.
roof? It
When
almost
you
looked like
buy it, when you buy it from the lot, does it actually have a roof already on it, or you have to tell them what you want on top?
Yes, it already has a roof on it, and from the looks of it, it's the same asphalt shingles that are currently on the home. Only thing I would have to do really is paint it the antique green that is already on the home.
Does it have we had this image in there packaged that's like a little barn?
Yeah, that's the actual shed. And again, I didn't really know that was going to be, a submission. So I just really just tossed it in there. I could have done a little better job.
So it doesn't look like that little barn. It more has a gable roof?
That is the actual, that's the actual dwelling there.
Okay, so it does have that little barn.
I think it's a metal roof,
Not asphalt shingles.
based on the spec sheet too,
It's a raised seam roof.
Yeah, 30-year metal, it says.
which,
Um,
I don't know, I wouldn't have any problem with
The
it.
metal doesn't bother me
No,
as
no.
much as the barn.
Shape of it, yeah. I think no matter what property you put on, it's not gonna be historic. I mean, it doesn't match with the hip roof of the house, and it's not gonna be the style is not super appropriate for it.
if it's approved, are you
historic,
okay
but-
with keeping the metal roof?
Yes. I actually, for some reason, thought the roof was the same asphalt shingle. But again, when I submitted this, I hadn't really looked at the picture since. But yeah, I have no problem keeping the roof. I have no problem putting it a little more inconspicuous, if you will, on the other property. I have plenty of room to pretty much put it anywhere in the back.
And 715 is the 715 is the
yeah.
one next to it, right? 715 is deeper lot as well.
Yes, yes.
If it were to go in the back
Yes.
along the,
Just out of curiosity, does 715 have a fence around it as well? Or is that property unfenced?
It has a fence on the front part
Okay.
and the side and the back side, but it's none in between the two lots.
In
It's
between
none
the
in
lots.
between the 717 backyard and the 715 backyard. There's no fence in between.
it goes all the way back to that line on the back.
Is it possible to get just a simple gable roof as opposed to that barn-like roof?
Yeah, because I didn't know if I had to actually do something different because actually the process of this has gone beyond the time my daughter could wait. So she's actually sold that particular one. So I came just to kind of,
So a
come
different
anyway.
design is possible?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I may have to purchase a different style anyway.
So it could be small, you could.
Yeah, I could go
purchase
smaller
something
now.
smaller.
I could go smaller now if I have to, because like I said, I didn't know which way to go to come to the meeting and just ask you guys directly or just resubmit paperwork. But I'm looking at having to get another shed anyway because she just sold it yesterday, I believe, or day before. Because she had to get rid of it and get it off the property it was on.
I'd be comfortable if it had a gable roof, was a little shorter, not 40 foot,
Yeah.
maybe 34, and was located on the rear of the adjacent property.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
With the color as you noted before.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Is that,
So located
I'd-
715.
yeah, so on 715 lot as opposed to the 717.
And do you have an orientation
I think it could be the
preference?
same, the orientation that was shown, basically parallel to the street, if it's all the way at the back. I guess honoring the setbacks that you'd have to do for Eve to meet zoning.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, like I said,
Yeah.
with the turn of
So
events.
I guess is that rambling enough motion?
I got them all. So gable roof, 34-inch wide is the proposed.
34 foot.
Just a little bit.
34 foot.
Sorry. Yeah, we're shoes.
That's a little tight, but
We really shrunk it down.
yeah, we'll make it work though.
30 foot
yeah,
wide. And then located at the back of lot 715.
Right.
Parallel to the street, same as you were
Same as it was
planning.
before. That's no problem.
So moved.
Yes.
And the windows are vinyl, and then what's the door material?
Now we're basically on a new dwelling now. So, what door type style does it need to be? Wood. I can make sure it has wood door and
Would be better if
windows.
the windows were wood as well. Yeah.
That might be, do
Yeah.
they make them that way?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, being handy if it doesn't come with it already, it would be no problem to replace that to put the wooden door or wooden windows in it.
Yeah, there should be wooden doors on there.
You think?
All right. I heard a motion. Was there a second at this point? We're still discussing.
I'll second it based on his,
Okay. Anyone have any other questions, comments, or concerns regarding that one? Hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. And opposed? No. One no. The ayes have it, so looks like you're good to go on those, the items, and obviously Eve, I think, will provide a list or specific details about what was discussed in the meeting, so you'll have that when you go to make your order.
Sounds good. Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
thank you very much.
Thank
We
you guys so
appreciate your
much.
time.
Thank you guys.
Let's see, did we have, was any other business that popped up? We're good?
I think that's it.
Okay, excellent. We'll go ahead and call the meeting adjourned until the next one, which is Monday, December 20th, right before the holidays. Hopefully everyone is here, but